Tonight, Scotland is battered by Babette. Torrential rain and high winds bring flooding to the east coast, power cuts and evacuations.
Couldn't close that door, and I just picked up the dog and just ran for my life. I actually thought I was going to die, not going to lie.
The flood defence was put up a few years ago, but obviously they're not capable of coping with the amount of water we're seeing these days, are we?
2 people are dead, a third is missing. We're live with the latest on conditions as weather warnings continue. There's widespread disruption to transport with flooding and fallen trees closing roads and railways.
Also tonight, I'm not Harry Potter. Rangers' new manager Philippe Clement warns supporters not to expect too much too soon.
So come and join in and learn to fear the Scale-Millie clown.
And is it a Halloween horror story or a guising gag? We track down the clown giving people comedy and creeps in Ayrshire. I'm Emma Cameron in Edinburgh.
And I'm Gordon Cree in Glasgow. This is the STV News at 6.
Good evening. People are counting the cost of Storm Babette as flooding and high winds caused damage and disruption down Scotland's east coast. Worst hit Angus, Tayside and Fife, but there's still concern more rains to come and a red weather warning remains in some areas. 2 people are dead as a result of the storm. Searches continue for a third person.
There's been widespread travel disruption with buses and trains cancelled as roads and rails were closed by fallen trees and floodwater. We'll have more on the travel situation shortly and the picture across the country. First though, Lynn Rankin reports from Brechin in Angus.
Watching and waiting for help to arrive after a night cut off by rising floodwater. Firefighters came to their rescue, carrying the 2 young boys to safety, followed by their relieved mum. It was a night like no other. The River South Esk started to spill into the street at 3:30 in the morning. The flood defences designed to protect the town up to a 1 in 200 year weather event was overwhelmed, and River Street quickly lived up to its name.
As soon as I put the handle down on my door, the water just swept me off my feet.
So much force behind that.
So much force, I couldn't close that door. And I just picked up the dog and just ran for my life. I actually thought I was going to die, not going to lie.
It's come to new on the letterbox. I lifted stuff up and took it upstairs, what I could yesterday. I'm busy doing it up at the moment for my daughter to live in. And it got flooded last year because the pumps went on. But this time it's come over the £14 million defences, this is unprecedented, really.
The flood defence was put up a few years ago, but obviously they're not capable of coping with the amount of water we're seeing these days, are we?
Hundreds of homes were flooded. Sandra's vulnerable son lost everything. Water swept through his flat overlooking the river, leaving behind a trail of mud and misery.
He's devastated. He phoned absolutely in fits of tears this morning. He's not wanting to come back now. He's feeling that the council and the flood plan has failed him because it should have been, sorted by now because the amount of times it does burst its banks.
A rest centre was set up at Brechin Community Campus. Local people responded to an appeal for warm clothing and blankets. But many residents left counting the cost are angry at the council's lack of information.
We did activate our Care for People plan and our emergency procedures. So yes, it was something that we activated very quickly. And as you could see, we have the rest centre and we have the rescue operation. And again, just to stress, working with our partner agencies, including volunteers. Thanks to the team effort, I'd say that yes, we have reacted and tried our very, very best.
2 people lost their lives in the storm. A 56-year-old man died after his van was hit by a falling tree in Forfar. It came after the body of a 57-year-old woman was recovered from the water of Lee at Glen Esk. A major search was launched in Marykirk early this morning for a man reported to be trapped in a vehicle in floodwater.
There is an incident ongoing at the moment, and that's part of that really crucial multi-agency response about how we can carry out a search of such an area and ensure that we're able to do that as quickly as we possibly can. I really think that we must, please pay advice to the advice that's being provided. Please acknowledge that. Heed the warnings that are being given about accessing, travelling into those red areas that are affected.
For those that bore the brunt of Storm Babette, the future is bleak, with many unlikely to return home before Christmas.
And Lynn has the latest on conditions in Brecon tonight.
Well, I've been speaking to some of the many hundreds of people that have been affected here in Brecon, and they're simply devastated. Their homes have been flooded, their possessions ruined, and the impact of that emotionally is very difficult to deal with. The people that have been rescued from their homes have been taken to a nearby rest centre where they've been given food, water and warmth. Many local people have rallied to a call for warm clothing and blankets to give to these people who have left their homes with what clothes they were wearing and the possessions that they could carry. Now, I was here all day yesterday, and at that time it was very difficult for residents to believe that the river was going to burst its banks. The water level was about 10 feet below the wall that you can see behind me, but in just a few hours the water managed to rise dramatically, and by 3:30 in the morning it was spilling over that wall and into River Street, turning it into a river. More bad weather is forecast with heavy and persistent rain to come tonight and in tomorrow. That red weather alert has been extended to midnight tomorrow night, and the Met Office have said that people should expect further flooding and further damage and devastation.
Lynn Rankin reporting there. Trains and buses have been cancelled north of Perth throughout the day, and the Fife Circle line was cancelled too. Cross-border services on the west and east coast were also halted. The advice is to avoid travel if you can. Conditions aren't likely to ease until Sunday.
Parts of Fife are being badly hit, with people enduring flooding and power cuts in the past 24 hours, as Laura Alderman reports.
As Storm Babette enters its second day, emergency services in Dundee had to help rescue some residents from their homes. With water levels rising, the race was on to get people to safety. In Lossiemouth, strong winds whipped up mountains of sea foam, smothering the coastline. Engineers are trying to reconnect customers as thousands of homes across Aberdeenshire, Angus and Fife remain without power.
Over the past couple of days, the biggest challenge, especially yesterday, was driving conditions. It was actually getting to and from site. There's been a lot of wind around and there's been a lot of water, which has caused problems on the actual roads themselves.
Further down the coast, Storm Babette shows no signs of easing. Here in Kirkcaldy, we're in the middle of a yellow weather warning with wind speeds gusting between 50 and 60 miles per hour. And as you can see, that's caused sand and other debris to sweep up onto the promenade. But it's still not stopped some people from going out.
We've no electricity in the house due to essential maintenance, so we've no electricity between 9 and 1, so we thought we'd come for a walk.
Well, we flood at our own house, so we're as well sitting here watching the sea.
You love sitting watching the waves.
So that's why we're here.
It's just been murder, really. I mean, I thought it was calming down there for a while, but see, it just seemed to have picked up even worse than it was yesterday. I hope it blows out sometime soon, because I can't cope with any more of this, really.
Concern grows for those still caught up in the eye of the storm.
We've got a lot of family up north.
What are they telling you?
It's really, really bad up there. They're not
worried for them?
Yeah, very worried.
Many major routes in Dundee were impassable today. Traffic heading north ground to a halt.
I've been here for about 8 o'clock, left Bells Hill at 6, and then I've been hit with the road closure, trying to make my way to Aberdeen. I've been here 6 hours, nightmare. Battled the floods up through Dundee, just gets to the end of Dundee and then up another road.
Across the transport network, trains and buses have also been cancelled.
I've never been to Scotland before. This is literally my first time here. I just landed, so yeah, I was not expecting it to be this bad.
I was going up to Aberdeen to see Dirty Dancing and meeting my friends from Elgin. They're coming through, but I can't get a bus or anything, so I just have to go back to Bridge of Weir. I'm not going to get to Aberdeen unless I go by a spacecraft or something.
Well, everything, I stood out at stand 52. There was no information came through. The bus just didn't turn up, What can you do?
The Met Office has already issued more weather warnings for the weekend.
Advice that's being provided, please acknowledge that. Heed the warnings that are being given about accessing, travelling into those red areas that are affected. The road conditions are extremely dangerous, and I would advise people not to travel into the areas that are affected.
A warning echoed by the First Minister as emergency meetings continue.
I will not sugarcoat it for you. The next 24, 40 hours will be incredibly difficult. We've already had significant disruption. I'm afraid, given the rain that's likely to fall in some parts, in Angus and Aberdeenshire in particular, it's likely to get worse.
With more heavy rain to come, the disruption felt across the country is only set to intensify. Laura Alderman, STV News.
Well, our reporter Laura Piper joins us live now from South Queensferry, where they're monitoring conditions across the country. So Laura, what's the situation at the moment?
Well, if you can perhaps see on the screens behind me, we're looking at some pretty nasty conditions out there tonight. We've got more rainfall to come, as we've heard, a possibility of more flooding too. And it's around me that this is where we have that emergency response team who launch into action when we have severe weather events like Storm Babette. We've got a mixture here of ambulance and police working alongside transport groups and the Met Office, all gathering in that information and coordinating a rapid response, with calls come in to this hub from teams out on the ground, allowing them to respond fairly rapidly. And one of those team members joins me here now. George, can you tell us what are some of the concerns of the team going into tonight?
I think here at the Traffic Scotland Control Centre, the multi-agency response team has stood up day and night alongside Transport Scotland's Resilience Room. We are monitoring everything that's occurring on the network, looking at messaging, communication, and that's what we're doing tonight. We're planning forward for the red and amber weather warnings that are coming into place tomorrow.
And we've seen some, pretty graphic images already. What are some of your concerns going forward? What could we see over the next 24 hours?
I think there'll be more heavy rainfall, which could lead to disruption, more flooding in vulnerable locations, and that's something that all the teams here and the multi-agency response teams are prepared for, planning for, and hopefully minimise disruption to the public.
Thank you, George. Well, as you've heard there, another challenging night ahead. The warnings, perhaps more warnings to come. The main message there to please try and keep updated as possible before you head out.
OK, Laura, many thanks for that.
Other stories in the West now, and a learner driver who killed a father of 3 after driving dangerously in a supermarket car park has been jailed for 4 years. Ali Zafar was 17 when he was driving a car with a fogged-up windscreen that collided with Derek Blackshaw in Glasgow in October 2021. A fundraiser is taking place to help those impacted by the ongoing conflict in Gaza. Those attending prayer at the Glasgow Central Mosque were encouraged to offer their support to help the effort in Palestine. Villagers in the Craignish Peninsula in Argyll say they've been effectively cut off after the bridge at Kilmelford collapsed. It comes just 2 weeks after a series of landslips blocked the road. Caroline Lewis reports.
For residents, it was the lifeline link road to Oban. But after heavy rainfall and high water levels, today this is what remains. The old bridge at Kilmelford became unsafe, and last night the decision was made to demolish it.
The whole of the Craignish Peninsula, there's Arduni, there's Kilmelford, and a few of the villages sort of off the main road. So all of those communities would use that bridge on I would say a daily basis. Obviously, people commute to Oban for work, as well as for school. So it is a major problem.
It's a heavy blow for residents, as just 2 weeks ago, a series of landslips covered the road to the south with thousands of tonnes of debris. The A816 just south of the peninsula is completely blocked, meaning residents can't get to the nearest town of Lochgilphead. And now, with the bridge collapse to the north, residents say they are effectively cut off.
You know, if an ambulance needed to get down to our area, that would be, you know, very challenging currently, and obviously a very long wait time if they could actually get here. So, you know, for our community health and for any emergencies, it is a worrying time.
The council say it will take weeks to clear the road to the south, but say they hope to replace the bridge by the middle of next week. In the meantime, residents have been taking an hour-long diversion along a single-track road.
Thanks to local landowners, they've opened up some of their land and we've been able to provide a much shorter diversion for people, but that's still causing issues for large vehicles. That neither road is suitable for articulated vehicles. So obviously that's quite an impact for businesses and the communities there. So it's a difficult situation that we're working really quickly to try and rectify.
High winds have also led to power cuts in the area, and further bad weather will only add to the challenges for residents here. Caroline Lewis, STV News.
Sport now, and Raman's here. Raman, Storm Babette's wiped out some fixtures as the league campaign restarts.
It has, Gordon. 6 games off in total, including 2 in the Premiership. Details of those 2 top flight matches shortly, but first to the latest at Rangers ahead of Philippe Clement's first game in charge. Good evening. Philippe Clement has told Rangers supporters not to expect too much too soon, stating he isn't Harry Potter. The new Ibrox boss has been boosted by the return of 3 players for tomorrow's clash against Hibernian. 6 days since being appointed Rangers manager, Philippe Clement was putting the finishing touches to his team's preparations for his first match in charge. As he gets his methods across, he had this message for the club's supporters.
I hope so. They see differences, but I'm not Harry Potter with a magic stick who can change everything suddenly. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to make first a good analyze what can be better and what is good also. And then to make prioritization, that you look what is the most important things now this week to make better, and then next week, and next week, and next week. Because if I try to do everything at one moment, then I kill the players.
Danilo, wearing a protective mask after suffering a fractured jaw last month, is available for tomorrow's match, as are Todd Cantwell and Ryan Jack, who have also recovered from injury. Earlier this week, Clement said James Tavernier will remain as Rangers captain. The defender's leadership skills have been questioned by a section of the club's support. How aware are you of it? How do you deal with it?
I tend not to look at social media. I've got 3 kids, so I'm very busy at home. I've never really been affected by social media. Everyone has the comments. Everyone's entitled to comments. But it's down to me as a person to look at myself and know where I'm going wrong and how to improve myself. It's been the way I've been brought up. Always with a strong mind, especially coming from my mum.
Now, after Celtic's ticket allocation for their match against Hearts on Sunday was cut to less than 600, Brendan Rodgers says a minimum number of away supporters should be set in league rules. The allocation is less than half of what the champions received in their previous visit to Tynecastle.
As a Celtic manager, and I love to see more supporters in there, of course, because they come from all over the place to follow their team. So, but hopefully we can standardise a certain percentage for away supporters, and that allows all the supporters of all the teams to be able to go and watch their teams.
Hibs boss Nick Montgomery says he won't deviate from his attacking plan for the trip to Ibrox. Montgomery is unbeaten in 5 games since taking charge. He's deployed a forward-minded team with 2 strikers and 2 wingers, and he sees no reasons to change things for tomorrow.
I think anyone that's seen the way that I've played since I got the job, obviously, you attack with 10 and you defend with 10. So again, we like to play attacking football, create a lot of opportunities. But yeah, we're not not stupid. We have to be aware they've got some very good players. They've got some of the best players in the league.
St Mirren manager Stephen Robinson believes the international recognition his players have received will help attract players to the club. Keanu Backus and Ryan Strain played for Australia against England in a friendly during the week, while Conor McMenamin scored his first goal for Northern Ireland in a Euro qualifier.
It shows the level and quality of player we've got at the football club now. I think it's testament to the recruitment as well, that we're able to bring these boys in, and helps in future recruitment because they're coming in and they're being recognised at international level playing for St Mirren. You know, they don't need to be at some of the bigger clubs to be recognised. That's been seen and credited the national managers.
As I mentioned, the extreme weather has impacted tomorrow's Premiership fixtures. Motherwell's match away to St Johnstone is off. Aberdeen against Dundee is also postponed, but 4 games do go ahead. Now, there's a big match in the Women's Premier League on Sunday as Celtic host Rangers. Fran Alonso's side have won all 10 of their games and hold a 2-point advantage over the City rivals at the summit of the table. Joe Potter's team go into the match on the back of a 7-0 win over Hibs. Glasgow Warriors and Edinburgh get their United Rugby Championship campaigns underway this weekend. The capital side under new senior coach Sean Everett are away to Welsh club Dragons tomorrow, while the Warriors' first match of the season is at home to Leinster on Sunday. What do you think Glasgow's aim should be for this season?
Yeah, I think we've set some good goals for ourselves, and we'll just be going out there to try and prove to ourselves that we're as good as we can be, and we sort of say we are. There's still the teams you want to be chasing, but you know, we possibly could be one of those teams. So that could be a little bit of a mindset shift there, but ultimately we still just focus on ourselves.
We've got guys here who are absolutely raring to go. You know, we've had a really long pre-season, as we spoke about. The only thing that it can create is excitement and ambition for the rest of the season going forward.
That's all your sport tonight. Have a great weekend. I'll see you again on Monday.
Thanks for that, Raman. Well, let's get the full weather forecast now for the coming days with Philip.
Hello and a very good evening to you. Well, unfortunately, things are staying very unsettled as we head into the weekend. There's multiple weather warnings in force. It does get quite confusing, so if you do have to head out and about, plan ahead, check those warnings as they are frequently updating and changing. The main one to take note of is this red weather warning for rain covering parts of Aberdeen and Angus. That was issued today. It comes into effect at midnight tonight. Now, awkwardly, the low pressure system that was Storm Babette has been absorbed by other low pressure systems, so technically it has disappeared, but of course we are still feeling the impacts and the effects of the storm over the next 24 hours. Come Sunday though, we get a brief respite as the low pressure system clears to the north. For Monday though, further rain will start to spread in, but this time from the west. In the meantime, let's take a closer look at what's in store over the next 24 hours. Here is the current forecast.
Get set for a wet spell. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Well, as we start to head through this evening and overnight, to begin with, we're continuing to see showers spreading in from the east. Eventually, through the early hours of tomorrow morning, those are merging together into this larger band of rain. Some of that will be falling as snow on the mountain tops. The further west we come, though, the drier and clearer it will be overnight, with temperatures dropping to lows of around 5 to 7 degrees quite widely for most towns and cities. Now, looking ahead to tomorrow, unfortunately, another very unsettled day to come to start the weekend. From the start, we'll be seeing this large mass of rain feeding in across eastern parts. Some of that rain will make its way further west through the course of the afternoon, but gradually that moves north and westwards. Things do turn a little bit drier through the course of the afternoon, but we do see a lot of low cloud mist and murk forming later on in the day, temperature-wise reaching highs of around 10 or 11 degrees Celsius. Looking ahead to a Sunday now, and this is when we start to see things clearing up just a bit. The low pressure system is continuing to work its way northward, so we'll have lighter winds than what we have been seeing. Still some showers in places, but for many of us, longer spells of drier and brighter conditions through the course of the afternoon, with temperatures on average for the time of year, highs of around 11 or 12 Celsius. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally this evening, Halloween is fast approaching. You may be buying in some sweets for geysers, but for the past few weeks, one Ayrshire village has been collecting red balloons left by a creepy clown.
Yes, the Skelmerley clown has gained international attention for his tricks, and while he may look scary, locals say they have a soft spot for him and look forward to his yearly visits. Here's Brandon Cook.
By day, it's the picturesque village nestled on the boundary between North Ayrshire and Inverclyde. But in the month leading up to Halloween for the past 4 years, by night, Skelmerley streets are wandered by a very creepy visitor.
So come and join in and learn to fear the Skelmerley clown.
This Pennywise lookalike leaves red balloons around the village for people to find in the morning. Usually, they contain clues to a game for locals to join in. Recent media attention has prompted people from all over to try and find him, but so far he's never been spotted. And despite his scary appearance, it's fair to say he's well liked.
It's been great fun in the village. Everybody's been talking about it and it's really got a village together.
It's just someone trying to set up some fun.
It scared me the first time I saw the red balloons, but now I'm pretty much over it.
It is known that one of my friends is scared to leave the house. You know, he won't even take the bins out at night in case the creepy clown sneaks up on him.
Well, I wanted to meet him for myself, and after some serious negotiations, Skelmerley's clown agreed to an interview. Finding the secret location in the dark wasn't easy. I felt like I was being followed. But eventually...
There you are. Where you been? I've been looking all over for you. Listen, you've been doing this for a number of years now as the Skelmerley clown. How come you've never been caught?
I cannot be found if you seek me with fear. You're scared if you can't see me.
Listen, this is your chance to speak to the country. Everyone's been looking for you. What would you like to say to them?
Now that you ask, I do have something to say. I've thought of a game for the whole country to play. Take a picture with your scariest faces. Post it online so your pic can be found. And use the hashtag SkelmerleyClown.
With 1 week until Halloween, the Skelmerley clown has set his next challenge. Brandon Cook, STV News.
Well, as they used to say on Crime Watch, don't have nightmares. On a happier note, Emma, we'll see you soon.
Thanks very much. Good night.
Bye-bye.